friend. Welcome to the calm night. My name is Daniel, and it's a quiet privilege to be the voice you listen to as the day comes to an end tonight. There's nothing you need to do here. You don't have to fall asleep quickly. You don't have to clear your mind. You don't even have to try to relax. For now, just listen and let the night slow down around you. Tonight's story is a gentle one. We'll be wandering through Itaewon in Korea at dusk without a destination in mind, just following warm light up a quiet hillside. You'll pass narrow streets lined with dark glass windows, small signs glowing softly against black walls, and the distant hum of a city deciding it has done enough for one day. And at the top of the hill, we'll find something unusual. A cafe that doesn't simply serve drinks, but controls the weather itself. Inside, rain falls as if it belongs there. Gentle, steady, unhurried, gathering softly in the quiet basin below. And the world begins to feel slower. You don't need to picture everything perfectly. Just follow along and notice whatever your mind chooses to notice. But before the story begins, let's give your mind a chance to arrive here. Take a slower breath than your last one. Not deeper, just slower. Good. Let your shoulders rest a little lower. They've been holding the day together long enough. Your jaw can loosen too. No conversations left to prepare for tonight. Nothing is waiting for you right now. Morning will handle morning. And even if you stay awake for a while, that still counts as rest. You're simply giving your mind a quieter place to be. You might begin to imagine the soft sound of rain, steady, even, unhurried. All right, let's begin. We wander through Itaewon as the evening cools. Not chasing a plan, not chasing the last light, just letting the night carry us the way a slow song carries a room. The street below is lively in that distant, softened way, like someone turned the volume down without anyone noticing. Up here, on the incline, toward Yonsan, the air feels cleaner, and the breeze has that gentle edge that makes you want to tuck your hands into your sleeves and stay close. We walk side by side, our hands finding each other now and then, sleeve against sleeve, warmth shared without needing to hold on. Every few steps, we fall into the same rhythm. A couple quiet breaths, a pause, a couple more. The city's small noises drift behind us. Footsteps, a distant laugh. But they thin as we rise, as if the hill itself asks everything to soften. There are little stairs cut into stone, low walls warmed by the day's last sun, narrow doorways with potted plants resting like sleepy guardians. A window shows a lamp glowing over a table where someone has left a mug and a book open, as if they stepped away for only a moment. We pass these scenes like we're walking through pockets of quiet someone left out for us to find. At a bend, we stop without speaking, not because we're tired, but because we both notice the same thing. A warmth ahead that doesn't match the air around us. It's subtle, not dramatic, just a steady amber glow nestled between ivy and stone, half hidden, as though it isn't trying to be discovered. We follow it the way you follow a scent you like, slowly, willingly, without needing to justify it. The building appears small, tucked into the hill like it belongs there. The windows glow softly, not bright, not showy. The light looks lived in. The kind of light you see when a home is awake but unhurried. Beside the door, a small white cloud rests against a dark black. Easy to miss unless you are already meant to notice it. We share a look that says, "Should we?" And the answer arrives before the words do. The steps up to the entrance are smooth and slightly cool under our shoes. When my hand reaches the handle, it feels warm, just enough to be surprising, like it has been held recently. I open the door slowly. It doesn't creak. It settles open as if it was expecting us. When we step inside, the door eases closed behind us, almost silently, and the world changes. Through the window, rain gathers in the stone pool outside, rippling in widening circles. For a moment, it's impossible to tell whether the weather lives inside the cafe, or if the cafe has quietly borrowed the night around it. At first, it's only the air, warmer, closer, softer, the kind of warmth that doesn't rush at you, but wraps around you like a blanket that already knows your shape. Then, a second later, we hear it. Rain. Not outside, inside. We pause at the threshold, and the sound gathers around us in layers. A gentle fall from somewhere deeper in the room. A lighter patter nearer to the windows. And a faint drip that repeats slowly, like a clock that forgot what hurry means. The rain isn't loud. It isn't sharp. It's the kind of rain that makes you breathe slower without telling you to. We look at each other again, this time with a quiet smile. Because now we understand what felt different from outside. The street had been dry, the air had been cool and clear. Yet here, rain lives. It's designed, but it doesn't feel artificial. It feels chosen. Above us, rain is simply falling. Not from clouds, not from pipes, just gently and steadily descending into a quiet basin below. The water lands gently, making endless ripples that catch lantern light and send it trembling across the surface. Another section holds a softer curtain of mist that drifts down like a private cloud. The room is divided into weather, the way other cafes are divided into seating. Along the walls, lanterns glow with a warm honey light. Their reflections shimmer in the water, never needing to be exact. Near the windows, thin trails of water slide down the glass. Outside, we can still see the evening. Dry streets, distant headlights, the normal world continuing with its normal rules. But the cafe, it has its own rules, and it keeps them gently. We move deeper inside at the same pace we walked up the hill, unhurried. The whole room feels like a slow exhale. No one calls out to us. The staff moves quietly, like they're part of the weather. A menu appears at the first open table we drift toward, placed with such ease that it feels like the cafe did it, not a person. We choose a table near the indoor rain, close enough to hear the steady fall, but far enough that we don't get splashed. The chairs are heavy and grounded, and when we sit, it's as if our bodies immediately understood we can stay. The menu, it reads like a forecast. Sesame cloud, evening fog, warm front cocoa, a pastry dusted white like fresh snow, a dark ribbon croissant tied into a bow, elegant and playful at once. We point out the most beautiful items to each other, the way you point out constellations, quietly, with a little wonder. We order without rushing. When the cups arrive, they arrive warm in our hands, not just warm on the table. Your drink smells like roasted sesame and milk, soft and nutty, like comfort. And mine, of course, is a hot chocolate, dark and rich, the kind that makes you slow down just to taste it properly. Steam rises briefly, then fades into the rain. We don't talk much at first. We don't need to. The sound in the room does the talking for us, telling the nervous system that it's safe, telling the mind that it can stop scanning the horizon. The rain keeps everything small in the best way. It gives our thoughts fewer places to run. Our hands rest near each other on the table, not gripping, not clinging, just lightly touching, enough that neither of us has to wonder where the other is. You take a sip, close your eyes for a second, and exhale as if the taste has found the exact place it needed to land. The indoor rain shifts slightly, not stopping, just changing its texture, like the cafe is adjusting the mood. A few droplets become a softer mist. The ripples widen, then smooth again. The room keeps moving in tiny ways, so we don't have to. You lean a little closer, and I feel your warmth through the sleeve of my jacket. I angle my shoulder toward you without thinking, the kind of movement that says, I'm here, and I'm not leaving. We share the pastry dusted like snow. The first bite is crisp, then soft. Something warm and sweet is inside, like a different season, hiding under the surface. You laugh quietly at the surprise, and I laugh too. And the rain swallows the sound in the gentlest way, leaving only the feeling of it. Time begins to loosen. We stop checking it. We even stop checking our phones. We stop measuring the night. We let minutes drift the way water drifts down glass. Here, rain belongs with us. We sit a little closer. Our hands settle together again, naturally, like they've always known where to rest. And the rain continues, steady, gentle, devoted, making the whole room feel like it's breathing with us. The longer we sit, the more the rain feels intentional, not background, not decoration. It shapes the room. The stream above the central basin narrows slightly, becoming softer, as if responding to the quiet between us. Lantern light wavers across the rippling surface, stretching gold into long, trembling lines that break and reform endlessly. No two reflections look the same. The windows mist lightly, and when you glance toward them, the outside world seems further away than it should be. The stone steps beyond the glass darken as if touched by rainfall. The small pond near the entrance begins to gather circles that widen and dissolve. It looks real, convincingly real. The cafe keeps its weather so gently, the outside world forgets what it was doing. You notice it too. Your fingers curl loosely around your cup, and I feel your hand brush mine again. This time, not by accident, not gripping, just resting there, palm to palm, like a quiet agreement. We don't comment on the illusion. There's something kind about not needing to explain it. A soft shift overhead draws our attention upward. The rainfall thins into one corner of the room, becoming more of a drift than a fall. In another section, it deepens slightly, a stronger cascade landing in smooth stone with a patient rhythm. The cafe doesn't rush transitions, it eases them. A server passes by with the slow, steady movement of someone walking through mist. A folded, cozy blanket rests over their arm, thick and simple, the kind meant to be borrowed without ceremony. It appears beside us moments later, placed gently along the back of the bench without interrupting anything. You smile at that. We shift closer without speaking, and the blanket settles around our shoulders naturally. Not dramatic, not theatrical, just warmth meeting warmth. Your mittened hand slips into mine more fully now, not because it's cold, just because it feels right. The rain above responds again, or maybe we imagine it does. The sound grows rounder, softer at the edges. The room feels closer, like the weather has leaned inward to listen. Somewhere deeper inside the cafe, a subtle glow changes hue. Warmer amber blending towards something almost rose gold. It reflects in the water below like a quiet sunset that decided to stay longer than expected. Your head tilts slightly toward my shoulder. The movement is small enough that it feels private. Even in a public room, I churn just enough that our temples rest near each other. Breathing synchronizes without instruction. The drinks warm up steadily from the inside. When you lift your cup again, steam rises between us and disappears into the rainfall above. For a moment, it's impossible to tell where the steam ends and the rain begins. The illusion strengthens. Outside the window, faint headlights blur into soft halos. As droplets trail downward, the pond fills slowly. Ripples widen, overlapping gently. The world beyond the glass seems to accept the rain as truth. Inside, no one checks the time. A new pastry arrives, this one darker, folded into a bow of deep chocolate layers, glossy and delicate. You break into it carefully, flakes drifting like soft ash onto the plate. We share it slowly, each bite unhurried, as though eating too quickly would disturb the weather. The rain shifts again. It becomes lighter overhead, almost whispering now. The stronger cascade softens into a fine mist that drifts like suspended breath. The stronger cascade softens into a fine mist that drifts like suspended breath. Lantern reflections stretch wider, calmer. The cafe feels like it's breathing with us. We lean back into the bench, blanket tucked close, hands still loosely intertwined. There's no need to decide what comes next. The room has already decided that for us. The illusion outside deepens. The once dry street now glistens convincingly. Light pools and small wet patches. The stone steps look darkened and slick. If someone were passing by, they would assume it had been raining for hours. But we remember the hill. We remember the dry air, the quiet warmth, the absence of clouds. That memory, it feels distant now, almost theoretical. Your thumb traces a slow circle along the side of my hand. I like that. Not consciously. Just the kind of motion that happens when the body is no longer bracing against anything. A subtle hush spreads throughout the cafe. one by one, the other tables empty. Not abruptly, not noticeably. Chairs scrape softly, coats lift from hooks. The door opens and closes in near silence. And still, the rain continues. Eventually, we realize the room has grown larger. Not physically larger, just quieter. More space between sounds. We turn slightly, taking in the softened glow, the water falling, the glass alive with droplets. It feels like the cafe has narrowed its attention to us. Not spotlighted, not isolating, just holding. The rainfall becomes finer still, almost a snowfall. Tiny white flecks begin to appear near the ceiling, drifting lazily through the lantern light before dissolving mid-air. Snow. Inside, your eyes widen just enough to catch the shift. I feel your quiet laugh against my shoulder. The transition was seamless. The sound changes subtly, softer, more muffled. The basins hold a stiller water now, disturbed only by the faintest touch. The illusion outside mirrors it. The rain beyond the windows lightens, becoming something gentler, something slower. The pond no longer splashes. It hushes. And snow gathers along the ledges beyond the glass. Not thick, just enough to suggest the world has changed seasons without telling anyone first. We stay close beneath the blanket. The air feels cooler now, not cold, but crisp in a way that makes warmth more noticeable. Our hands tighten softly, not out of need, but appreciation. Inside this small hilltop cafe, weather bends quietly around us. Rain becomes snow. Light becomes softer. Time becomes wider. And we don't question any of it. We simply sit together, letting the world forget itself for a while. The snow inside the cafe does not fall heavily. It drifts. Tiny flecks, barely visible unless they cross the lantern light, descending slowly before dissolving just above the basins. The sound of rain has softened into something rounder, more muffled, like snowfall layered over distant water. The change is subtle enough that it doesn't demand attention. It invites it. We remain beneath the blanket, close but unhurried. Your hand still rests inside mine, fingers loosely threaded, not gripping, not holding tight, just present. Outside the window, the illusion continues. Where rain once traced the glass, there are now faint streaks of frost forming at the edges. The pond beyond the door looks darker, calmer, its surface holding a thin shimmer like the beginning of ice. We remember the dry hill, the clear sky, the absence of clouds. But it's a distant memory, like something we read earlier today. The cafe, now that feels more real. The lanterns glow deeper, not brighter, just warmer. The light shifts toward amber and rose, touching your cheek with a softness that makes everything feel distant. I notice the way the glow settles along the edge of your jaw, the way your breath slows when you lean fully against me. You tilt your head slightly upward, watching the last of the snow dissolve in midair. "It changed," you whisper. I nod, though we both felt it before we saw it. The cafe changes without announcing itself. Another cup appears quietly at our table, refilled and warm again. No interruption, no request. The steam rises slower this time, blending into the softened air. We sip without urgency. The pastry plate sits between us, nearly empty now. Flakes scattered like small pieces of something once delicate. You brush a crumb from the table with your mitten, then tuck your hand back into mine. Our shoulders settle closer. The world narrows in the most comforting way. The tables that once held other guests now sit empty. Lantern reflections flickering against the polished wood. The room feels larger in one sense. More space, more quiet, yet somehow smaller in focus. It's as if the cafe has leaned inward. The snowfall above thins further, becoming only a suggestion, a memory of motion rather than motion itself. The basins hold still water now. The last ripples fade outward and disappear. The only movement left is breath, our shared breath, and the gentle trembling of lantern light. You shift slightly beneath the blanket, drawing your legs closer. The fabric settles along our laps, heavy enough to ground us. I feel the warmth of you through the layers, steady and unhurried. Time loosens again. We stop measuring it completely. A subtle hum of warmth runs along the walls. Not mechanical, not electrical, just the kind of ambient presence that keeps a room from ever feeling empty. Outside, the illusion continues to hold. Snow gathers along the edges of stone. Light reflects in a muted silver against what looks like a thin winter sheen. If someone were walking past now, they would pull their coat tighter and believe it had been snowing all evening. Inside, the temperature feels perfect, balanced. You lift your head from my shoulder just long enough to look around the room. There's something different now. Not a change in the weather, a change in, energy. The cafe no longer feels like a public place. It feels paused, as if the world outside has kept moving, but this room has chosen to stay where it is. Your fingers tighten just slightly around mine, not out of fear, not out of uncertainty, just acknowledgement. We are still here. The lantern near our table flickers once gently like a blink. The reflection in the basin below trembles and then steadies. The snow no longer falls from the ceiling. The air remains soft but still. I realize then that we haven't heard the door in a long time. No soft open, no gentle close. The absence, it doesn't feel alarming. It feels quiet, intentional. You seem to notice the same thing, but instead of turning to check, you lean back into me again. We don't rush to confirm anything. There's something comforting about not needing to. The blanket warms further around us. Our legs shift naturally into alignment. The table no longer separates us as much as it did before. Our chairs angled inward without conscious adjustment. I rest my cheek lightly against your hair. You breathe in slowly, then out. The cafe feels like it's breathing too, not visibly, but rhythmically. The snow illusion outside deepens in color, though no new flakes fall. The world beyond the glass looks hushed, as if it agreed to keep its distance. Your thumb traces a small absent circle against my knuckles again. The movement is almost hypnotic. We sit like that for a while. A long time, actually. Long enough that the warmth of the drinks settle into something internal. The outside world becomes abstract. The lantern light dims almost imperceptibly, not darkening the room, just softening edges. Your eyes drift closed for a few seconds, not sleeping, just resting. When they open again, the cafe feels even quieter, more contained. The air holds no movement now. The basins reflect still light. The illusion outside remains perfectly intact. Snow resting along stone. The pond surface calm and silver. We're not alone, but we are the only ones here. That realization arrives without drama, not as discovery, as knowing. The cafe has narrowed itself around us completely. No footsteps echo. No chairs shift. No doors move. The weather remains obedient to its own gentle design. You tilt your head toward mine and whisper, almost amused, "I think it's just us now." The words don't break anything. They don't introduce tension. They feel like confirmation of something already understood. I slowly nod, and we stay exactly where we are, because there is nowhere else that needs us tonight. The quiet deepens slowly, not as an event, more like the air settling further into itself. The lantern near the entrance lowers by a shade so small it would go unnoticed if we weren't already paying attention to the light. The amber softens toward a duskier tone, closer to candlelight than a cafe glow. A staff member passes once more through the far side of the room, steps careful and unhurried. There's no announcement, no request for us to gather coats or check watches, just a gentle presence moving through the weather. We remain where we are. Our blanket stays wrapped around our shoulders, our hands still loosely joined together. Somewhere near the door, there's the faintest sound, a small shift of wood against wood, not sharp, not mechanical, just the kind of quiet motion that suggests a day has completed itself. Through the glass, we notice it then. The small white cloud emblem by the entrance now faces outward beside a simple word, closed. The sign itself doesn't feel like instruction. It feels like punctuation. You glance toward it, then back at me. No alarm crosses your face. Only something softer. Recognition. The cafe has finished serving the evening. And somehow, without effort or interruption, we are still inside. The thought doesn't rush the heart. It slows it. The snowfall illusion beyond the windows thickens just slightly. The stone steps outside, now fully dusted in a quiet white. The pond holds a smooth silver surface, undisturbed. The world beyond the hill seems farther than before. You shift beneath the blanket, pulling it higher around your shoulders. I feel the warmth of you settle deeper against my side. You shift beneath the blanket, pulling it higher around your shoulders. I feel the warmth of you settle deeper against my side. We didn't even notice, you murmur. I smile. We didn't need to. The room holds that answer gently. The staff member crosses once more through the far edge of the cafe, then disappears beyond a door near the back. A final lantern lowers a fraction. Not darkness, just softer edges. No one approaches us. No one asks us to leave. The rain-snow illusion continues in its steady rhythm, as if it has always belonged to the night and will continue long after we fall asleep. We remain seated, still, present. The sense of the world narrowing feels intentional now. The cafe has not forgotten us. It has simply accepted that we are a part of its weather. You rest your head fully against my shoulder. No hesitation in the movement this time. Your breathing evens into something deeper, slower, and I match it without trying. Outside the window, the snow seems almost luminous against the dim streetlight. It gathers in quiet corners, rests along edges, softens every edge it touches. Inside, warmth remains constant. The basins hold perfectly still water now, reflecting lantern light in a steady gold. No ripples, no falling streams. The rain has finished its work for the evening. Only a faint mist lingers overhead, barely visible, like a memory of what was falling before. Your fingers trace another slow circle against my hand. I turn my palm slightly, letting your hand rest more completely within it. We don't move toward the door. We don't test the handle. The idea of leaving feels distant and unnecessary. The cafe feels different now. Not public, not private, just paused, held. Time outside may continue, but here it has stepped aside. The sign in the window remains turned outward, the white cloud emblem catching lantern light from within. Snow gathers quietly along the base of the door. You open your eyes again briefly, scanning the room, as if committing it to memory. The empty tables, the folded menus, the lanterns breathing warm light into still air. It feels like it's keeping us, you whisper. The words are soft, almost amused, and I nod slowly. It is. There is no urgency in that agreement, only comfort. We adjust slightly, shifting further into the corner of the bench. The blanket settles around us more completely now, the weight of it grounding, steady. The silence deepens another layer. No footsteps echo, no dishes clink, no doors move. The world has finished its motions for the night. Only breath and warmth remain. Your head grows heavier against my shoulder. Not with exhaustion, but with trust. The kind of weight that comes from knowing nothing is required. The snowfall illusion outside grows almost luminous now, the street beyond softened into a white hush. Inside, the lantern nearest our table flickers once more, and then steadies, casting a gentle halo around us. We sit just like that for a long while, not speaking, not shifting. The realization that we will not be leaving tonight no longer feels like discovery. It feels like certainty. The cafe has closed its door. The weather has settled, and we are exactly where we are meant to be, together, held inside warmth and quiet, with no need to hurry toward anything else. The room has grown so still that even our breathing feels audible. Not loud, just noticeable. The basin near our table holds water that has been gathering all evening. Rain at first, and then the softened hush of snow. The surface is smooth now, lantern light stretching across it in long, quiet ribbons. We shift closer without speaking. The blanket remains wrapped around our shoulders as we rise slowly from the bench. Shoes slide off with a soft sound against wood. The air against our ankles feels cooler than before, the warmth of the cafe resting higher now, around shoulders and hands. We sit again, this time at the edge of the basin. The stone lip is smooth and gently warmed from the day's falling water. For a moment, we simply watch the surface, still, golden, inviting. You dip your toes first. Slowly, the water responds with the smallest ripple. It isn't cold. It isn't hot. It holds the exact warmth of something that has been resting patiently all evening. You exhale, not dramatically, just a quiet release. And I ease my feet in beside yours, careful not to disturb the water more than necessary. Our ankles brush lightly beneath the surface, and the ripple spreads outward in widening circles that fade before reaching the edges. The warmth climbs upward slowly, from feet to calves, like a gentle tide moving inward. The blanket falls lower around us, settling along our arms and laps, keeping the rest of us wrapped in softness. Snow still glows beyond the window. The illusion remains complete. White gathers along the stone steps outside, and the pond reflects lantern light in a muted silver. Inside, the water holds steady. We sit like this for a while. No conversation, no need for it. Your shoulder leans against mine again, and the rhythm of your breathing deepens gradually. I feel it, the slow expansion, the longer exhale. The cafe feels even smaller now, contained entirely within the lantern light and the quiet circle of water around our feet. The faint mist overhead lingers, barely visible, drifting through the amber glow like memory. You shift your toes slightly beneath the surface. The water moves in response, not splashing, not breaking, just adjusting. Our ankles brush again. Neither of us moves away. There's something profoundly calming about the warm water holding tired feet after a long walk. The muscles release without instruction, and the mind follows. The blanket warms further around our shoulders, trapping the last of the cafe's gentle heat. You rest your head fully against mine now, heavier than before. Not because you're exhausted, but because there's nothing left to brace against. I tilt my head gently until it rests against yours. We remain like that, hands loosely joined above the water, feet resting below, and snow glowing outside. The illusion of winter pressing softly against glass while warmth holds us inside. The cafe breathes once more. Not visibly, not audibly, but in the way that lantern light softens another degree. The basin water cools slightly at the edges, though it remains warm around our skin. The contrast, it feels good. Grounding. You murmur something small, not a sentence, just a sound of contentment, and it dissolves into the quiet. The sign at the door remains turned outward, closed, but the word no longer carries meaning. There is no outside to consider tonight, only this circle of warmth, only the steady glow, only the water holding our feet like a gentle promise. The snowfall beyond the glass thickens subtly, covering the steps entirely now. The world outside looks hushed beyond recognition. Inside, we are unhurried. We are not exploring. We are not planning. We are not deciding. We are simply resting where we are. The warmth continues to move upward, ankles relaxed, calves softened, shoulders heavy. Your fingers tighten once around mine, then loosen again. The kind of unconscious motion that comes when the body is drifting. I feel your weight lean further into me. Your breathing slows again. Longer pauses between each inhale. The water remains steady. Lantern reflections shimmer faintly across the surface, stretching and narrowing like slow-moving golden threads. The cafe feels less like a room now and more like a quiet pocket held somewhere outside of time. The illusion outside no longer matters. It is real enough to be believed, but distant enough to be irrelevant. You adjust slightly beneath the blanket, drawing closer still. Our knees touch lightly above the waterline. There is no chill anywhere, only warmth, only soft amber light, only the faint whisper of snow that may or may not be falling beyond the glass. Your eyes close fully now, not forced, not declared. They simply close. And I remain still, holding you gently. Feet resting in warm water, blanket wrapped around us both. The cafe holds the rest. The lantern light steadies. The snow outside glows quietly. The basin water no longer ripples at all. And the night, without urgency, continues. The water begins to cool at the edges. Not cold, just less warm than before. You notice it first, though your eyes remain closed. Your toes shift slightly beneath the surface, testing the temperature without waking fully. I feel the small movement. Slowly, carefully, we lift our feet from the basin. Water trails down our skin in thin, silver lines, returning quietly to the surface below. There is no rush. The stone floor feels smooth beneath us. We dry our feet with the edge of the blanket, laughing softly at the improvisation, though even the laughter stays quiet, more breath than sound. The water settles again, still, golden. We step back toward the bench. The lantern nearest our table glows steadily, welcoming us back into the warmth it has been holding. We sit closer now. The blanket wraps around us fully this time, covering our shoulders, our arms, laps, and legs. No gaps, no edges, only warmth. You lean into me without adjusting, without needing to find the right position. It finds itself. Your head rests against my chest. I can feel the steady rhythm of your breathing now. You breathe slower again, deeper. The cafe remains perfectly still. Snow beyond the glass glows faintly beneath a distant streetlight. The white cloud emblem near the door catches a hint of amber reflection. Closed. But it feels less like closure now, more like completion. The world outside has finished. The cafe has finished. The night has finished deciding anything at all. There is only this. Your breathing grows slower again. Inhale, longer pause. Exhale, longer still. My hand rests lightly at your back, rising and falling with each breath. No pressure, no intention, just presence. The lantern light softens another shade, not dimmer, just gentler. The mist overhead has completely disappeared. No rain, no snow, only quiet. The basin water reflects the lantern like a mirror now, unmoving, unbroken. Time has loosened so completely that it no longer feels necessary. We did not speak. There are no more observations to make. Nothing left to notice. Only warmth. Only closeness. Only the steady, even breath of someone who trusts the night completely. Your fingers curl once at my side, then relax. Your weight settles fully, not leaning, resting. I adjust the blanket one final time, drawing it slightly higher around your shoulders. You exhale in response, soft, content. The cafe feels even smaller now, not physically, emotionally, like a room that has wrapped its walls closer without changing their shape. Outside the window, the snow remains luminous, but distant, almost unreal. Inside, everything is certain. The bench beneath us is solid. The warmth around us is steady. The lantern light does not flicker. Your breathing continues, even unhurried. I close my eyes as well. Not because I'm tired, but because there's nothing left to see. The cafe holds the rest of the night for us. The hill beyond the door is silent. The world below has long since quieted. And inside this small, weather-warmed room, there's no reason to leave. No reason to move. No reason to wake. Your breath slows even more. Longer pauses now. The weight of you feels heavier, safer. The blanket warms around us completely. The lantern light softens once more. Not fading, just becoming less noticeable. The basin reflects still cold. The sign remains turned outward. The snow remains untouched. And we remain here, together, held, unhurried. The night does not ask anything anymore. It simply continues, and slowly, very slowly, we drift asleep.